Drasa awakens abruptly in the heart of a dense forest, her senses immediately on high alert at the sound of an approaching aircraft. Instinctively, she reaches for her weapon, aiming with precision. As soon as a man steps out of the plane, she pulls the trigger, ending his life instantly. Meanwhile, former Marine Levi is plagued by relentless nightmares. Seeking relief, he takes a walk along the beach, hoping the rhythmic crash of the waves will soothe his restless mind. The following morning, his phone buzzes with an unexpected message. He is to report to the Marine Corps base. There, he meets Agent Bartholomew, a woman who seems to know every detail of his life, his military background, his exceptional sniper skills, and his reclusive nature. She wastes no time in offering him a classified mission. In Lithuania, Drasa visits her mother's grave with her father on the anniversary of her passing. The visit takes on an even greater weight as her father shares devastating news: his cancer is terminal. Accepting the inevitability of his fate, he makes a chilling declaration. If he is still alive by February 14th, he will end his own life to reunite with his wife on Valentine's Day. Months later, Levi regains consciousness in a military aircraft, groggy from the lingering effects of anesthesia. A soldier stands over him, refusing to disclose their destination, only stating they are nearing a no-fly zone. Stripped of all his personal belongings, Levi is handed a parachute in order to jump. With no other option, he leaps into the unknown, gliding through the air before landing in the rugged wilderness. His journey is grueling, traversing treacherous terrain, enduring harsh conditions, and navigating the unforgiving landscape. Eventually, he arrives at the edge of a vast gorge. There, he encounters JD, a fellow soldier who has been stationed there for a year but remains completely unaware of their exact location. JD leads him to the West Tower, a self-sufficient outpost powered by solar energy, complete with a backup generator, rainwater system, and vegetable garden. Across the gorge stands the East Tower, but communication with its inhabitants is strictly forbidden. The chasm between them is lined with land mines and defensive barriers, no crossing, no exceptions. JD explains Levi's duties: conducting daily perimeter patrols, restocking automated turrets placed every 600 meters, and inspecting containment fences, suspended mines, and cloaking devices that conceal the gorge from satellites. Monthly radio check-ins are mandatory, but no additional questions are permitted. In case of an emergency, a panic button activates the ominous stray dog protocol. JD's only advice? If the protocol is triggered, run. This operation dates back to the Cold War, a classified agreement between nations that erased its existence from history. Even world leaders remain oblivious to its presence. According to legend, in the late 1940s, 3 cavalry battalions ventured into the gorge to exterminate whatever lurked within. None returned. JD's time at the post is over, and as a helicopter extracts him via rope, a soldier demands identification, and despite JD giving the correct password, a bullet pierces his skull. A month passes, and Levi adapts to the monotonous routine, patrolling the perimeter, maintaining the security systems, and checking in via radio. The voice on the other end offers no conversation, only demanding confirmation that all is fine before cutting off. Then, something unexpected disrupts the cycle. Movement in the East Tower. Through his binoculars, Levi spots Drasa chopping wood. Their eyes meet briefly before she turns away, uninterested. Days later, a violent storm rages. Jolted awake from another nightmare, Levi accidentally knocks over a glass. As he bandages his bleeding foot, he notices Drasa observing him from her tower. Their gazes lock before she disappears into the shadows. Another month drags by. On her birthday, Drasa, tired of solitude, fires a shot into the air to capture Levi's attention, holding up a sign. "What's your name?" Levi hesitates before responding. "We aren't supposed to talk." Smirking, she holds up another sign. "It's my birthday. I do what I want." Amused, Levi finally caves. "Levi." He raises his glass in a silent toast. Their exchanges soon turn playful. Drasa blasts music, dancing under the moonlight, teasing Levi to join. He refuses, claiming he's a terrible dancer but a skilled marksman. She proves her own prowess by shooting his water bottle. In response, he shatters hers. Drasa ups the challenge, balancing a bottle on her head, daring him to take a shot. But then, she freezes. Levi shifts his focus downward, his breath catching at the sight. Twisted, monstrous figures are climbing the walls. Their hollow eyes fixed on their prey above. Without hesitation, Levi fires, sending one plummeting onto a mine, detonating an explosion below. But more are coming. Drasa seizes her machine gun. Together, they unleash a relentless barrage. The fight seems to be over, until one manages to scale Drasa's balcony. She empties her pistol into its skull before kicking it into the abyss. But now, the creatures are climbing both walls. Levi and Drasa continue firing, detonating mines strategically, holding their ground until the last of them falls. As dawn breaks, Drasa, injured but exhilarated, grins. Best birthday ever. Weeks pass, and their bond deepens. They exchange notes, play chess, and build snowmen bearing each other's names. On February 14th, he spots Drasa crying over a family photo. She skips her patrol that day, whispering a wish, "I wish you were here." Using the armory's supplies, he constructs a makeshift rocket and launches it across the gorge. It embeds into a tree, setting it briefly ablaze before Drasa extinguishes the flames, and Levi prepares to cross. Suspended over the abyss, he nearly makes it, until the rope snaps, leaving him dangling. Determined, he climbs inch by inch, finally crashing into her tower. Drasa smirks. "You stink." He chuckles. "Guess I need a shower." That night, they share quiet confessions, laughter, and a dance that leads to something deeper. By morning, Levi must return. As he makes his way back, the Hollow Men attack again. A massive explosion sends Levi plummeting into the gorge. Drasa doesn't hesitate. Grabbing weapons, she secures her chute, and jumps after him. She plunges straight into the river. On the surface, her parachute gets caught on a rock, forcing Drasa to cut it free. The current immediately sweeps her away, and as her body collides with a rock, she accidentally loses the auto-ascender. The river continues pulling her along until she manages to grab onto some tree roots and pull herself to land. Meanwhile, Levi remains unconscious, hanging from a tree. Suddenly, a branch stirs, revealing itself to be a monster. As it approaches Levi, he regains consciousness and starts firing his weapon while struggling to free himself from the ropes. He crashes to the ground, landing on what appears to be mud, only for the sticky substance to start shifting, revealing itself as the mouth of another monster. The adhesive trap begins closing around Levi, but fortunately, Drasa hears the gunfire and rushes in, shooting the creature and rescuing him just in time. The two continue toward the wall, searching for the rope. Suddenly, eerie screeches echo through the air before two hollow men appear, riding horses that resemble twisted trees. The riders attack Levi and Drasa with swords, and one leaps off his horse to tackle Drasa. She swiftly stabs him in the neck with her knife, sending him to the ground. The second rider snatches Levi's gun with a whip, but Levi quickly draws another firearm and takes out both the rider and his horse in a matter of seconds. Meanwhile, Levi examines the fallen creature and notices an old military uniform, confirming the Hollow Men are actually the long-lost horseback battalions from the old stories. As they push forward through the forest, they encounter countless skeletons scattered along the way. Eventually, they stumble upon an abandoned town, its buildings overtaken by mutated plants, with signs of earthquake damage visible in the cracked ground. The distant screeches signal the approach of more creatures, prompting the duo to seek refuge inside a church, where they discover skeletons seated in the pews. Levi detects the scent of cyanide, realizing the people here chose to end their own lives rather than endure this nightmarish existence. Suddenly, a noise above catches Drasa's attention. She looks up just in time to see a giant spider lunging at her. As she stabs it, two more leap at Levi, but he swiftly guns them down. But at that moment, Hollow Men storm into the church, forcing them to split their attention between the monstrous spiders and the new attackers. Drasa slams a creature's head against a table before throwing it aside, causing spiders to swarm over it. Thinking fast, Drasa launches a grenade at the back wall, blasting open an escape route. Fleeing into the forest, Levi and Drasa can still hear the distant screeches of pursuing creatures. Realizing they're too exposed, they move closer to the wall, where they find an old door leading into a structure overtaken by plant life. Deeper inside, they discover it was once a military laboratory. The place is littered with skeletons, and Drasa manages to reactivate a generator. Levi locates a tape and plays it on a projector, revealing a recorded message from a scientist dated 1946. The film explains that this community was part of a top-secret multinational coalition working on biochemical missiles during the final years of World War II. However, just 6 days before the recording, an earthquake struck, triggering a catastrophic chemical leak. The scientists worked tirelessly to contain the toxin, but it fused with the local flora and fauna, mutating them into monstrous creatures. As Levi and Drasa explore further, they find a computer from the late 2000s, suggesting that even after the initial disaster, others continued the experiments. Levi activates the system and uncovers that this facility belongs to Darklake, a private paramilitary corporation. Digging deeper into the computer files, Levi finds details on a protocol named Stray Dog, which turns out to be a nuclear failsafe designed to sterilize the area in case of a containment breach. As they prepare to leave, Levi tells Drasa that despite everything, this mission was worth it, because he got to meet her. Suddenly, a hollow man's whip snaps around Drasa's ankle, yanking her away. Attempting to shoot, she struggles to aim while being battered by rocks and branches along the way. Following the tracks, Levi eventually arrives at a facility housing the nuclear bomb. Inside, the hollow man has strung Drasa up and is tormenting her, twisting a branch embedded in her stomach before ripping it out. Gritting her teeth through the pain, Drasa kicks him in the chest and untangles herself from the ropes, breaking free. Drasa uses bones as a makeshift shield and quickly crafts a torch from the nearby bonfire, setting the hollow man ablaze. As he screams in agony, Levi finally arrives and finishes him off with a series of gunshots. After reuniting with a relieved embrace, Levi examines the hollow man's uniform and recognizes the name. It belongs to the first guard who worked in his tower. The area is filled with mutated beings, their bodies trapped in the sticky goo formed by the toxin. As they cautiously cross a bridge, the unsettling sight of half-submerged faces gasping for air in the goo sends chills down their spines. Suddenly, Drasa steps on a root, and as she tries to pull free from the adhesive substance, the ensnared bodies begin breaking loose. Levi swiftly slices through the roots with the sword, rescuing her before the creatures can pull her in. Acting fast, Drasa launches a grenade behind them, triggering a massive explosion, allowing the duo to sprint toward a nearby staircase and finally escape. Afterward, they come across a garage filled with old military jeeps. After fixing the jeep, they drive and reach near the wall. Levi fastens the rope to the jeep while Drasa fends off approaching hollow men with gunfire. At first, everything goes smoothly, but soon they realize the hollow men are scaling the wall right behind them. Levi ignites a flare to avoid the creature, but instead, the jeep catches fire that incinerates their enemies, but also destroys the jeep in the process. After that, they scale the last stretch of the wall and return to Drasa's tower. While tending to their wounds, they agree to remain apart for 5 days in quarantine, just in case they've been exposed to the toxin. Some days later, Bartholomew calls Levi and asks him that someone accessed the lab's computer, and when Levi denies entering the gorge. Once the call ends, it's revealed that the lab's computer had a built-in camera, meaning Bartholomew already knows both soldiers were down there. The next morning, they spot an incoming helicopter and immediately sprint into the forest. When soldiers arrive at the now empty towers, they deploy drones to track down Levi and Drasa. The drones unleash gunfire, forcing the duo to fight back, taking them out one by one, though they sustain some injuries in the process. Once they reach an elevated position, they set up sniper positions and begin picking off the cloaked soldiers. Thanks to the mines they had strategically placed earlier, they trigger a chain reaction, causing the cloakers to be wiped out. The Stray Dog protocol is activated. Realizing the imminent danger, Bartholomew and her team scramble to evacuate via helicopter, while Levi and Drasa sprint for their lives. The nuclear bomb detonates, unleashing an enormous explosion that engulfs the sky. The shockwave causes the helicopter to crash, killing everyone on board. Unfortunately, Levi is also caught in the blast, sending him tumbling off the edge of a cliff and into a river below. Drasa manages to escape and takes shelter in a cave, waiting for any sign of Levi. Sometime later, in France, Drasa has settled into a new life, working as a waitress. One day, she is stunned to find Levi sitting at a table, alive and well. Overcome with emotion, they reunite with a passionate kiss. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing videos.